He's got staff decisions to make, Senate offices to put together, but he made it clear this afternoon, pointing the finger of blame for Republican underperformance at Donald Trump is not healthy, he says, for the party, nor helpful. J.D. Vance was gracious in victory and struck a conciliatory tone Tuesday night. So I asked if he planned to be in the mold of a bipartisan Rob Portman or a fire breather like Ted Cruz.
I think Portman is a good model in the sense that Portman cared about the details of legislation. Of course, I'm not going to agree with Senator Portman on every issue, John, but I do think that, we need people who actually solve problems in Washington, D.C., who actually get things done.
He pledged no grandstanding. And in the 48 hours since the much-expected red wave became a red ripple, there are some in Vance's party who want to move beyond 2020 election denial and therefore move past former President Trump. Here's what Vance said about that.
I really disagree strongly with the effort to finger point and project blame for what happened on Tuesday on Donald Trump.
Vance says control of Congress is still TBD and that the GOP was outraised and outspent in marquee races. Many have fixated on his election night thank yous that did not include Trump.
And was that purposeful on your part? And if so, why?
No, not at all. I mean, look, there were a lot of people I left out of my thank yous. I pretty much think the people that I campaigned with certainly appreciate the president's support. And I've talked to the president since I won. And I think that on that particular account, people were making much ado about nothing.
Vance says the uncertainty over a Senate majority will play out. He's focused on putting a quality staff together locally and in D.C. I wondered who he'd like to swear him in.
Presumably my wife will be there holding a Bible. It's a good question, actually. You're the first person to ask me, and next time you ask me, I'll have a better answer.
J.D. Vance says there was a moment Tuesday night that he said was very cool for his family and gave him pause, that his mom, who struggled with addiction and is approaching an 8th year of sobriety, gets to see her son, author of Hillbilly Elegy, become a part of Capitol Hill. John London, WLWT News.